Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Tam's story. And we're going to pick up right where we left off, and you are right on the outskirts of a small village overlooked by the Nadajdi estate. Now, this village... go ahead.
I was just wondering if I could heroic recovery after our last encounter.
Yes, you can.
I'll do that as you just...
This village is scenic. A small stream flows towards you, and it seems like a small offshoot from the Silmir River. As you can see to your left, over the small plains and the treetops, there is what looks like a much larger, almost like a river harbor. And you see the tall, but bound up and tied away sails of larger vessels off in the distance. The village before you is cozy. You see that at a glance, it looks a little bit like the outskirts of Ferrum, almost. Small buildings with thatch roofs, but they are not made primitively. It seems as though there's a lot of imported wood and building supplies that have helped build this town. It looks, I don't want to say wealthy, but it looks better off than one might expect a village by the river to be. As you're looking around, you see that there are various people going about their business, and while it is kind of a quiet and sleepy atmosphere, you do immediately get approached by a young half-orc individual.
Interesting. Okay.
And as he approaches you, he kind of speaks up and he says, "We don't get a lot of business out here, strangers. None that look quite as well kitted as the rest of you and your crew. Do you mind stating your business out here in Siltaska?"
We're here to see the Nadajdis.
"Oh, are you? We hear that quite a lot. Can I get your name?"
Temerity Goldhorn.
You see this half-orc, who you kind of recognize as dressed up, not like as a sheriff, but like maybe like a deputy or some sort of official. And he nods and he says, "All right, let me get word up to the estate. You all mind your manners now." And he...
Couldn't imagine doing anything else.
"Oh, I'm sure of that." And he kind of looks to all of you and tips his very wide brim hat. And you see him head over to a small building that there is a, like, imagery of a shield on it, and it is just marked constabulary.
Constabulary. Okay. Do we have a minute or two while we're waiting for the constable?
Oh, you have no idea how much time you have, but it's probably going to take a little bit.
Probably gonna take a little bit. Okay. I have a very important task that I need to accomplish. Does it look like there is anywhere around here that sells honeycomb that I promised Fable?
Roll investigation.
Okay. I don't know what kind of a town this is. I know we could probably easily find honeycomb in Ferrum. I think that my sheet here is not giving me a correct investigation score.
Hold on.
I have my headband on.
Let me re-import. We climb the mountains as they approach us.
It is true. That. Nope, it still says 2.
Hold on.
It should be
Headband of intellect. Why is it not? It says you're attuned. All right.
Yeah, it works on my D&D Beyond sheet. I can just roll insight, which is the same
Yeah, that's
insight
fine. It's the
bonus.
same roll. Go ahead and do that. We know what you're doing.
Yes.
Oof. With a 7,
Oh my. Okay.
you become keenly aware that this town, there's not a lot of labels or signs or like the constabulary does have a sign out front, but it seems like that's the only building that is advertising what it is. As you're looking around,
Is this Does it seem like a similar situation? There was a time that we found that time that we were in the like bank district in Augur City. It was a similar thing where there didn't appear to be a lot of signs, and it seemed like a little bit like high end. Is that the reason why? Is there like a does
okay,
it seem like there's
no, not quite. It seems as though like this town doesn't feel the need to advertise.
oh, interesting. Okay.
You get the impression that it's just a small village or like a very small town or a large village. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows what everyone does.
Gotcha.
There
You don't need
is,
to ask where to
yeah,
know the butcher's name.
exactly. You as you're looking around and you guys are you're very out of place. A kind of middle-aged human man is pulling a donkey with a cart laden with what look like just supplies, maybe tools. And he looks over at you and he says, "You all look a little lost.
Little bit. We're new arrivals.
Got family in town?
No, we're here on business.
Not much business to be had for strangers such as yourselves, but I'm not sticking my nose in.
Understandable. You don't happen to know where I could get some honeycomb, do you?
Honey, they'd have some down at the general store.
Great. Could you point me in a direction?
Straight down this road. You're gonna take a left. It'll be the big building with the double doors."
Okay, great. Uh, he's gonna turn to his team. I owe my familiar some honeycomb. Um, and I don't think the constabulary will mind too much if we replenish a little bit at the general store, especially since it doesn't seem too far away. Does anyone else need anything?
Why don't we all just go to the general store? I could always use, maybe a little top up on the flask and some healer's kits, that sort of thing.
Sounds good to me.
Your your party follows you as you head to the general store, and it is, as the guy described, it looks like a building similar in construction to the rest of them, but with just a slight like warehouse vibe to it. Like the roof is thatched, but
Right.
it's almost like hexagonal, the like a barn top. And you do see that
Can I
there's people milling in and out.
can I just do a little like vibe check? It seems like I'm realizing as I was kind of like taking notes. So we just found this Samantha Braddock sort of thing. We found out that the folks that we were fighting for, the rebels, were getting their taxes collected from Samantha Braddock and not from King Demric.
Sure.
Do I know anything about the like political structure of Aurelia? Like, is it like is this like a liege lord? Is this normal? Is this like a liege lord situation
Roll a history
where
check.
your taxes go to a certain person, or is this weird?
Roll a history check.
History.
Is Tam proficient in political science?
Yeah, right. He is proficient in history, and I think that once again we have a discrepancy. I think I have a +7 in history on my
Yeah.
with my headband, and I don't think I have any that
I'm
high
gonna
in
just
political
give you a
science.
unique modifier here. Let me just do this. I'm just gonna
Okay.
friggin' goodness gracious. ability score. We're going to set it to 19 because of the intellect. There.
Oh,
Boom.
excellent. Okay, I will reopen my.
And Tam's head grew 3 sizes that Christmas.
Yeah, right? Okay, there we go. History. That's not terrible.
That's a 19.
That's a 12. That's a 19.
Yeah. So Aurelia is okay. Tam would know with a 19 that Aurelia divvies up its lands by nobles. And a lot of nobles control like small sections of territory. And a lot of big cities are controlled by, well, an estate of nobles, all of which answer to representatives that then answer to the monarchy. The idea that a family or people that close to Augur City, the capital of Aurelia, should be paying taxes to a noble family, that's a little weird.
That's a little weird. Okay.
But this village beneath a noble's estate, this is normal.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what made me think of it. Is I was like, okay, this seems like Nadaji territory, and that makes sense. It makes sense that they would sort of be like kind of a little bit of an offshoot of the Nadajdi family in certain like insofar as like they work on their lands and maybe it's their jobs are kind of dependent on them and stuff. But like Braddock collecting taxes outside of the city.
Considering how close it was to the city, that's weird. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Guy will just gonna tuck that piece of information away. And look around the general store and see what I can find in terms of honeycomb. And I think I would also a healer's kit would also be useful.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have healing potions too.
So as
that would be too.
you walk into the general store, and it looks like a farm store. Like you see a whole lot of fishing supplies. You see a lot of rope and a lot of nets. You see a whole lot of literally like water farming, sort of like hatcheries and those sorts of things, and like cultivated algae, like in bags. So like the whole place smells of water and water plants and stuff. It is comforting in a way. It's kind of an environment that Tam probably hasn't spent a whole lot of time around.
Sure.
It's new smells, and there's always this quality of freshness to it. But it's so strong that it almost like verges over to the like mildewy, but not quite. It's not there yet. But so it smells good, but it's about to smell bad. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
As you're looking in the general store, you do see that there are racks and racks of tools and supplies, and then food, and then herbs, and then almost like apothecarian. And there are lots of people that are milling about in here, but you do notice all of the people you see milling about in this general store, they all look either like retirement age, like very old or elder, or they're like teenagers. You don't see anyone at like adult. With the exception of the clerk, who is kind of an unfortunate looking fellow. He's a human man, probably maybe 30, but he is stark bald on the top of his head with like the horseshoe hair going around it. And he looks at you as you're entering, and he says, "Adventurers! Hello! Welcome to Siltaska. We didn't hear that there were going to be folks of your kind stopping by."
It's a little bit of an interesting situation. I'm sorry we couldn't send word in advance.
Oh, well, no trouble, no trouble. If you need some supplies or anything, by all means, you can enjoy a 10% discount.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course. And he just smiles at you. You see there is a small parchment, like, folded up on front of the counter. And you recognize that this man's name is Gregorio.
Gregorio.
Yes.
Okay. I introduce myself. I kind of poke around. Is there anything other? Do I find honeycomb? And is there anything like? Actually, can I ask him? Is there anything that your village is particularly known for that I shouldn't miss?
He kind of scratches at the short little tuft of beard on his chin, and he says, "Well, if you haven't been here before, the oysters are not to be missed."
The oysters.
Oh yes,
Okay, good to know.
taken right out of the sill, just off the side of the sill there. They're delicious, fresh, and often bearing pearls. So you might get lucky.
Whoa, a pearl in your dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a song. Um, Great. Well, if you have, I'm in the market for some honeycomb and a couple of healer's kits and whatever else my party would like.
Uh, the attendant Gregorio just kind of nods and he says, "We have plenty of honeycomb off in the fresh barrels just at the end of the food supplies there. Healer's kits you'll find along with the apothecarian to the right." And he like points you to where everything that you're looking for is.
Excellent.
He does say, unfortunately, if you're looking for healing potions, the best we have are salves, which they're not as high quality as the sort of, standard produced healing potion that you might get out of the mercenary corps or the army or anything like that, but they do the job.
I imagine that with the war going on, the healing potions are a little dear at this
You would
point.
be right. Aye, there. Oh, every herbalist, alchemist, and apothecarian is cranking them out en masse to be sent to the front line. So we work with what we've got.
I'm gonna look at Sagona since she's our kind of main party healer. I'm gonna say, what do you think? You think we should get some salves just in case?
Yeah. Anytime I don't have to heal all of y'all.
You can be doing more zappy zappy.
Right. I
I
mean,
imagine.
unless you just are in particular fond of the dwarven touch, if you know what I'm saying. Otherwise, healing salves might be a good call.
Okay, let's get a couple then. Yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of like look at Fable. I'm also kind of clocking if anyone is because people tend to be interested in Fable.
Yeah,
So
lots of people are looking at him.
yeah, I think I'm gonna be like, all right, buddy, how many honeycombs do you want?
What kind of question is that? How many are you going to get with
Uh,
buying? Like, we got to store up for the winter.
okay, okay. I mean, I don't know how many we can reasonably carry, but yes, I'm gonna. How about we start with five?
Fine.
All right,
He
10.
seems disappointed by that. Getting better. All right. At least one for the day of the week. Yes.
10?
We're getting better. Yes,
10.
I'm working with that.
Okay.
So the honeycombs, you're at like the end of the food aisle, and you see there is this large barrel. It looks like it was once a whiskey barrel, but since it has been changed into like a beekeeper's. It looks like a storage barrel at this point. But you see that there are all these wooden dowels with a large honeycomb or small honeycomb. They're all sorts of sizes on the ends of them. It's not perfect. None of them are uniform. None of them are like exactly the same
Sure,
size.
sure.
But they're all like swimming in honey. And as you like get near this barrel, the smell of it is well, it smells amazing, but also like you can just hear and feel Fable just
Yeah.
just like salivating.
If I could also purchase like a little pouch so the honey doesn't get
Yeah,
everywhere, just
okay.
like a little honey pouch.
There are strips of like canvas that it looks like you pull a honeycomb on a dowel out of the barrel and then you wrap it in the canvas so you don't make a fucking mess.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Then we will do that. I will let Fable choose his own, even if they're big, as long as we can carry them all.
Oh, he
and pick which one.
is very discriminating. He like flutters over to the edge of the barrel and just like is looking down into it. And he's like that one and that one and that's a double. Get that one. That one. That one's a good one. That one's a good one. And like he's very excited about this idea, and you end up with 10 honeycomb. And he somehow managed to pick out like the biggest ones.
Of course he did.
Like one of them was like a grapefruit on a stick, basically. Like you think whoever put that one in was like a child and it was their first time drawing
Right.
honeycomb. Like he seems very pleased about it as you wrap all of them in canvas. Even though it seems like a pretty like dedicated system here, your hands are still sticky. You get honey all over your pants. It's just there's nothing you can do about it. You're
Yep.
sure you're gonna feel that every time you're like walking or moving. Your hands are gonna get stuck to your clothes, and you're not looking forward to it.
I have a prestidigitation stone
Thank goodness for that.
for exactly this reason.
Okay. There's a little marker, and it says honeycombs are 1 copper to 3 copper, depending, in little parentheses.
Sounds. I imagine they're all only 3 coppers.
Probably, yes.
I was just prepared for that.
You're expecting to be
Um,
paying 3 silver for honeycombs.
I am expecting 3 silver for honeycombs. I'll purchase. I have a healer's kit with a couple of charges and another full one, but I'll get one more.
Okay.
And a couple of salve.
Healer's kit is 5 gold.
Okay.
These healer's kits are. It does seem as though the war effort has impacted this town.
Sure.
They're not like official wrapped with leather or anything like that. It's like a more canvas wrapped around like the supplies you need. There's like needle and thread and what looks like a poultice like wrapped up in like a pair of leaves pinched into it. Like it looks almost like kitschy, but you see that there's everything you need in the healer's kit there. It's just as if like
Yeah.
a druid was making their own, basically.
Sure. Sure. All right. I'll purchase that for 5 gold, and I'll purchase 3 silvers worth of honeycomb
Okay.
and the salves.
Okay. So as you like, your party has purchased a couple things. You see Hiram has gotten a climber's kit. As you're near the front counter and you're starting to investigate the salves, mechanically, the healing salves are not the same as a healing potion. A healing salve, while they only cost 25 gold, they require an action to use, and it's not a thing you drink. You have to like each salve.
Gather it on your.
Yes, exactly. It's like a half bottle filled with this thick herbal paste, and you smear it on the injuries.
This reminds me very much of Dragon Age Origins. Uh,
Man, I have to play that game.
yes,
I haven't played that in a long time.
it's real good.
I remember loving it when I was like 12 or 13. This has been a long time. So the healing salves, when you use an action, they will restore 12 hit points,
Okay.
but they require an action. And if you give it to
Gotcha.
someone else, it's a tedious affair. So it's a touch thing you have to do. And there's like a warning label on it that says "Do not consume."
Gotcha. Great. Well, I will purchase 3 of those,
Okay.
and let my party kind of do as they will.
Sagona's going to buy 2 of them. Wix is also going to buy 2 of them. You see, Wix buys a whole lot of supplies, actually. After, like, you've gotten your shopping away, like, Wix comes up to the counter, and she opens her arms, and there's, like, 6 leather bags that she sets down, and, like, you see that she's buying, like, caltrops and ball bearings and wire and fishing
Oh,
line and all sorts of, like, weird just stuff. Like, you're not entirely sure what that's all for. Maybe spell components, maybe something else. But the biggest thing she sets down is a big spool of concertina wire. of barbed wire.
What? Are you making traps with that? What's that for?
Oh, aye, this could be for traps. That's generally a good idea, but I have, some tricks of the trade that I like to use. If you take, all
Okay.
right, so if you take these old bear springs, you wrap the concertina wire around them. If you break that concertina wire and drop it, it will let loose a big bundle of this crap, and then someone that wants to move that way, they have to deal with it, or it's going to hurt them and slow them down.
Sounds like a trap to me.
It's kind of a trap. It's more like an obstacle, I suppose. But when I'm blinking around, I can just drop them, and it saves a lot of time and effort.
That sounds incredibly wise.
You pick up these tricks when you're working alone.
I bet you do. Do any of my other party members get anything that's interesting?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, there's lots of like little trail rations and stuff that people are picking up, and like Hiram seems to be particularly fond of almonds.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Love that.
you notice that he picks up a big bag of almonds. But that's kind of it. Wix is the only one buying weird stuff.
Hiram is the one kind of cooking. You said that he was kind of the cook, the default cook a little bit.
He does cook, yeah. But usually it's just
Um,
he's just heating up rations and stuff for everyone.
I will have a conversation with him and be like, is there anything, I don't know how much we're going to be on the road since we've mostly been in the city, but since you do the cooking, is there anything that would it be useful to get utensils or anything that's not rations that would be helpful?
Do you want to start taking more time before we move off and all our traveling?
I
Because
mean,
rations are quick, but they do the job.
rations are quick. Rations are quick, it's true. And we're still pretty close to the city. But it can be worth maybe once we're back in Otter City, if we get back there, we can have that conversation then.
I
But you're
wouldn't.
right. Speed is
I
of
wouldn't
the
say.
essence right
I
now.
wouldn't say no to some silt corn if they have it.
Some silk corn?
Silt corn.
Silt corn.
It's a
Do I know what that
spice.
is? Oh, okay, great. I will look around for that.
Uh, you don't find it where you thought you'd find it. A name like silt corn, you think it's going to be like a vegetable.
Yeah.
But you find it dried along, like in racks and bundles near the apothecarian sorts of things, and it is like this kind of gnarled brown root, and it has all these little seeds growing off of it. It's very cheap, and it smells very aromatic, kind of like sage,
Ooh, love that.
but that's what Hiram pointed out to you. It says that'll help anything taste better.
Okay, good to know. We'll get a big bundle.
All right. A big bundle of it. The stuff weighs like nothing, so it's like 3 pounds of silt corn is like a ton of silt corn.
Amazing. How much will that run me?
It's gonna be 5 silver a pound,
Okay,
so you can get as much as you want.
we can get a 2 pounds.
Okay, a gold's worth of silt corn. You buy this big bushel of it, and Hiram stows it away. He looks. You do catch the small quirk of a smile on his face.
Uh, can I make an insight check? Does this seem? I know that he was pretty. His tribe was pretty nomadic, right? But stayed in kind of a similar area, I think, based on our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Does this seem like a thing that might remind him of sort of like home, for lack of a better word?
Uh, It definitely seems like something that is comforting to him. He seems excited about the idea of using it. That's what you get with your
I love
passive
that.
insight. You could try talking to him about it if you want.
I think I'm gonna save that for later. Since Hiram is a little bit, I think a little bit harder for Tam to read than the rest of them because he has such a different kind of upbringing.
Sure.
Like they've had a lot of conversations where Tam has like tried to connect with him, but like hasn't really like he's been really clocking like at the end of last session when Hiram sort of like seemed to admire what the people that were standing up for themselves were, like what the rebels were doing. Tam was like, oh, okay. Like he's trying, I think he's still in the process of like information gathering and trying to figure out like what is it exactly that Hiram respects.
I think Hiram is a puzzle for Tam that I don't think
Yeah,
anybody
he
else
is.
quite is. Okay. Sure. You purchase the silt corn, and do you look for anything else?
Um, is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else that is. Act, it's unlikely. There's probably none of those little like K candies because we're so far away and there's been an embargo. Like,
There are
is there anything
candy, there are sweets, but there's no
is
can.
is there anything that might remind Tam of home here?
Uh, okay. Roll me a D100.
Okay.
38. Hold on. Yeah, there is. Being from Coda City, that place is kind of a nest of imports. All sorts of things coming from all over the world. And one of the things Tam had definitely had, and I mean, you can decide how important this is to Tam or how impactful, but there is a thing here that Tam would have seen in Coda City, often sold at like small little import shops or near candy stores. And what they are small little, like, it almost looks like a little thatch cup, like a little straw cup with a sealed top that's closed with wax. When you break the wax, inside is a whole bunch of very sweet nectar from a local, well, Aurelian plant called a tussleweed. But the nectar itself is incredibly sweet and it's very like fragrant, and a lot of people drink it just as candy. Drinking a lot of it will make you sick, but having like
Sure.
a couple of them it's a treat. You saw them every once in a while in Coda City. You see there's like an entire shelf with these little like thatch cups with wax seals on the top.
Okay. I will grab some of those for myself and for Fable because this seems like the kind of thing that Fable would also be into.
Okay. Each one's
Um,
like the size of a thimble. Like they're very small. So
they're
you get
very small.
you get the
Um,
image of what they are.
Wix also told me not long ago that she likes caramel. Sagona likes dark chocolate, and Wash likes jelly candies, and I don't think I ever got a read on Hiram. So I'm just gonna grab a couple of if those are things that are available to me.
Those are candies that you can find anywhere, basically.
Okay. Um,
In the
that one
food
time we
aisles,
went to the candy
you
store.
gather those up.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one time we went to the candy store in Ferrum, he's gonna kind of mimic what we got there, and for Wix he'll just get a handful of caramels and kind of like grab those and sort of to pass them out as treats later, basically.
Okay. You do that. Getting candies, 2 silver.
Okay.
These are the sort of sweets that, like, children come in with a copper and walk out with a handful
Yeah.
of whatever they're looking for. So,
Sure.
um,
All right.
as you finish up your business at the general store, which you realize is just called Gregorio's, as you step outside, you are encountered by an Aarakocra. He looks remarkably well dressed compared to everyone else wearing just common work clothes that you've seen. As he looks at you, he says, I understand that you are the Marigard mercenaries that have been sent to work with the Nadajdes.
We are indeed.
I am Reichel. If you wouldn't mind, please follow me to the estate.
Pleased to meet you.
A pleasure. And as he turns, he just looks over his shoulder at all of you as he begins to walk. And as your party's following you, Reichel, this Aarakocra, says, How have you found our quaint little village?
I like it a lot.
It is peaceful compared to the capital, I think.
It is. Refreshing.
A nice change, in my opinion. Have you any news for those of us that are not in the governing ear?
Well, I imagine that you're aware that there are groups of rebels kind of just outside these lands. We actually helped some of them fight off some Goldswatch that were coming to potentially try to raise some of their farms in order to collect taxes.
No, that is news.
There was a little scuffle recently. I was also wondering, do you know why Samantha Braddock would be collecting those taxes and not the king?
You see this individual. He looks taken aback for a moment, and he seems to gather himself, and he says, Perhaps that is a conversation best had with Pomona. She is the one who understands the politics of the area better. I am simply a manservant, and I was only attempting to make small talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have such a noble bearing yourself that I thought you were her associate.
It's in the blood. An inherited trait, I'm afraid. No, I knew not of any of these news. Rebels fighting against Braddock. I've heard the name Braddock before. From what I understand, she is, well, the Braddock household is a powerful noble family in the capital.
That's pretty much what we've managed to gather too. There hasn't been a lot of time for research, I'm afraid.
Well, let us hope.
I imagine that Miss Nadashi can tell us more. Lady Nadashi, I imagine. Yes.
I am sure she's educated on the matters as he leads the way. And as he does, you are brought up these long paths that kind of ascend out of the village until you are brought before Nadajdi Manor itself. And as you're on the same level as the Nadajdi Manor, you see there's banners with the Nadajdi family crest on it, which it almost looks like an inverted dagger blade with a diamond below it. And as you are here, Nadajdi Manor is beautiful by all accounts and made of a pale stone. As Reichel brings you towards the front doors, you're being led through the gardens, and he says, From what I understand, you will be remaining here for the next week or so while we prepare for the royal ball. I don't know the particulars, but I also believe Lord Adelon might be due to arrive during that week, which will help with the briefing, I suspect.
Excellent.
Have you any questions for me before we enter the manor proper?
Do you have any idea what kind of training we're meant to undergo here?
Those of courtly graces. Preparing yourselves to the interactions and deceptions involved handling political problems that might occur whilst at the royal ball. Also, espionage. I don't know how skilled you are at subterfuge. You seem a likable chap. Charming enough. But weaseling out important information from those unwilling or unaware that they are parting with it is something that we're going to have to do. Or you're going to have to do. At the royal ball.
Okay. Well, I don't consider myself to be particularly, shall we say, proficient in deception, but I suppose I can learn.
It doesn't always have to be about lies or deceit. You can, perhaps, get on people's good sides, make them comfortable around you, see if they are willing to part with information that they think is safe in your hands. Which it might be, and it might not be.
That I might be better.
What do you know of the Nadajdis?
I know that they're an important royal family. It seems like they've been privy to a lot of important political dealings that have happened throughout Aurelia. Even personally, sometimes, I think. And they seem to be working rather well with my employer.
He stops, and you're like at the entrance of the garden, and he just turns and faces you and your team, and he says, "The Nadajdi family has been an Aurelian partner for generations. Right now, Eudora Nadajdi is the lead admiral of the Aurelian merchant fleet that is currently in the Bay of Toil outside of Ceres. Pomona Nadajdi is responsible for the entire gem trade and currency exchange between Aurelia's eastern and western counterparts. Manners of currency are vital here."
I see why she's partnering with us.
Yes. This concern about Riverine and a new coin would not only uproot the western partition of Aurelia, it would create great and troublesome problems for all parties involved. This is something Pomona Nadajdi is not willing to allow to happen. And so,
Certainly.
she is ambitious and enthusiastic about this endeavor. So, he turns and he says, "I'm sure you'll meet the rest of the family when time is appropriate. Eudora Nadajdi is not here, obviously. I brought her up as a measure of bearing, so you understand the scale of which you are getting involved." As he continues up the steps. The doors open, and you are welcomed into the Nadajdi Manor. It's more like a castle than it first appeared. It is heavily ornamented, but the first thing you notice is you've been studying religions and deities basically your whole life, whether you liked it or not. You immediately spot iconography of the goddess Marcella, and you spot it,
Interesting.
and you see it all over the place.
And I kind of look at, kind of just make eye contact with Sagona, being like, "Oh, interesting." We can watch each other clock that.
She does notice it, and she, her eyebrows raised to you, and she just looks at you and says, "Kinky."
Of course.
Yeah, that's what she would say. What can you do?
I was like, his first lesson in courtly graces. He's like biting his cheek so he doesn't laugh.
Yep. None of them are quite so obvious as to just be straight up like Marcella's symbol, but there's all sorts of like hints at it and portraits that have someone drinking wine, and there's clearly a coin like hidden in the wine. Like you catch the spots.
Sure.
That being said, you do see a whole lot of other servants that are going about their business, maids and butlers and cleaning staff and gardeners that are moving in and out of the building and passing through doors around you. All of them look busy. Most of them, when they spot you, they give a little bow and they just say, like, my lords or adventurers, just some sort of proper greeting in the moment.
Some sort of, yeah, sure.
As you keep moving in, Rykel leads you into a sitting room where you see Lady Pomona Nadajdi seated on a recliner and having a conversation with another woman that you met once before, but in heavy armor and it is clearly marked in the sigils and raiment of Vion.
Okay.
That's
the same god that the
Edie.
Edie, yeah.
Yep, same
He
god.
worships, right? And that's part of why we're like, we can really trust him to do the right thing because Vion wouldn't really allow anything else.
Yeah. So the Pomona who is seated is still speaking at this paladin. And the paladin looks up and says, "Your guests are here, sister." And Pomona turns and says, "Oh, you made such good time. I was prepared for it to be days. Fantastic." And she stands. "Welcome to our humble home. I am Pomona Nadajdi, in the flesh. Hold your applause. I'm so pleased to see you all. We have yet to be properly introduced."
Yeah. Well, I can let the rest of my party speak for myself, but my name is Temerity Goldhorn. We're at your service.
Your party all does introduce themselves. I'm not going to spend a minute being myself to myself. Pomona smiles with each of them, graciously nodding, and then she says, "Fantastic. I am Lady Pomona Nadajdi, Master of Gems. This is my sister, Ursula Nadajdi. She is the leader of the Vionites here in Aurelia."
Oh.
Ursula just very stiffly tips her head in a nod. "She is here all the time, but also to assist me in these efforts. As the Royal Ball is in just a week and we have a lot of work to do. First and foremost, Tam, your team, your skills. Lay them out for me."
Well, do you want me to, just out of character here, do you want me to sort of go into a thing or
So what I want is I actually want Tam to be a little introspective here, and I want him to try and lay out what Tam sees the skills of each of his teammates as, for Pomona's sake, but also just for the recording's sake, and this moment of Tam in his adventure. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think Tam will kind of not start with himself, I think. He'll kind of nod to each person in turn and say, "Well, all right. Sagona here is our cleric. She's a servant of Nier. And she is fierce in battle, in the way that any dwarf might be, and fiercely proud of her skill, though she's incredibly insightful, but might not be the best pick for a diplomatic mission. as her skills are kind of more geared toward battle. Though introspectiveness is very good. She's very good at that. This is Awasha. Um, and she's very light on her feet, great with her fists. An excellent choice for this kind of mission, I think. Not only wise and perceptive, but also an excellent fighter with nothing but her fists, and very well trained in the art and skill of having a lot of people looking at you at once. She can really hold attention and capture a crowd. Hiram here is one of our, she's an incredible frontline fighter, pretty quiet, really good at recognizing when when people need to be pushed in certain directions. As you can see, he's pretty heavily armored, and might have a harder time maneuvering in the kind of environment of a ball. But he is the first person that I trust with tactics and understanding of what to do in a situation, and he can go up against a lot of targets at once. So can Wix, actually, also a master tactician and really, really good on her own. She's been a solo fighter for a while, and is incredibly self-sufficient, very, very smart, and has been in these sorts of deceptive situations before. She's got a lot of experience. And then there's me. Hang on, make sure, out of character, did I get everybody?
Yeah, you got
I don't
everyone.
have everyone in front of me. I got everybody.
They're all on the map if you need.
Oh, they're all on the map. Of course they are. Yes. I'm looking at like 5 different things. And then there's me. I'm a trained bard. I'm more persuasive. I'm best at telling the truth or bending the truth. A little not, and I have some skills in the range of pretending to be other people, but I do best being what I am and lying by a mission if I have to. But I can get a lot of people to trust me. Most of the time I can get people to trust me pretty easily, and I'm good at telling people stories. And I also am very skilled at holding a room. Most of my magic is geared toward defending and supporting the rest of a team. And so I'm mostly the one that's making focus calls and trying to be a support in the strengths of my people that I'm working with.
Fantastic. I feel as though I've known all of you for years. Now, before we get any farther, we must lay out the plan. Firstly, I've heard great things from the Krabers about all of you. Everyone has had their hiccups and mistakes in their adventures, but I am pleased to say that what mishaps or accidents happened during your missions has not really affected things on our end, which is fantastic. You, Temerity, Tam, Master Goldhorn, do you have a preference?
Tam is fine.
Tam. You can call me Mona.
Oh, thank you.
The task at hand is going to require that you divvy up your team into 2 groups. One group is going to be working with me. The other group will be working with my sister, Ursula. Simply put, the team working with me is going to be working on espionage. We are going to be honing the skills that we're going to need to get the answers that we need to out of the Demeric party. Literally the party, not the ball. It is a party. You understand. There is a group of people in Demeric's immediate employ that we must get information out of. You understand.
I do.
The other group, Ursula's group, whichever ones of you that is going to be, are likely to see a little bit of bloodshed on that night. They are going to be responsible for infiltrating the stables into the workshops and kitchens of the royal palace for the purposes of placing a small item amongst the kitchen's ingredients.
Interesting.
And then making it look like it was supposed to be something entirely different, such as a robbery or a theft. So, she, is looking at Hiram. A little bit of smash and grab? Is that against any of your likings? And Hiram doesn't say anything, but Sigona says, "Oh, count me in for that one." Pomona just nods and then says, "The espionage team that is working with me, well, you're going to be attending a ball, and we are going to be making distractions. I will be attending the ball as well, and you and I, your team and I, cannot seem to be interacting in any way. We cannot be together. This is entirely part of the discretion required. Now, I understand you can keep a secret, Tam."
Yes.
Good. That's going to be very important. So, have you any first inclinations as to who is on which team?
I think that, Sigona has already volunteered, as I suspected she would. For
Oh,
grab. Hiram, are you comfortable in that role?
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you need.
Okay. And then he's gonna look between Wash and Wix. Say, "Ladies, with me." The other team.
Wix says, "Oh, a little bit of a hobnob isn't too bad of a shuffle. I'm not too proud to see myself dressed down into such fine garments."
If you prefer to be on the other team, you're welcome to.
She shrugs. "It makes no difference to me. Wherever you need me, boss."
Okay.
So over the table, this situation.
For one team. Yeah.
Okay, for this mission, the party is going to be split. Tam and whoever's with him are going to be in the party, at the ball, and there's going to be.
Sure.
We're going to get into the details of that over this training montage.
Sure.
But we're going to be switching the camera between Tam's group and Sigona's group. Whoever you put with and where. Now, if you put 2 on Sigona's group and 3 on Tam's group, it'll be fine. I'm going to be balancing the encounters based on your choice of teams to do what.
Gotcha.
What I want you to think about is, with Wash and Wix, these, if you think Wix's abilities and magic might be more useful with Tam in the ball, you should probably bring Wix with you to the ball. If you think Wix's magic and abilities would be better with the assault team, basically, you should put her with them.
Yeah, I think since she's a warrior magician, I'm kind of more inclined to put her on the smash and grab team. But I was also kind of like, well, she has experience with this by working by herself.
She does.
But a lot of her magic seems to be kind of geared around hurting people, which seems like more. And also, I think she might be stealthier than some of the other folks.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now that stealth with Hiram and Sigona is not going to be a thing.
Yeah, it's not going to be a thing. They're going to just be, that's fair.
If a team is going to be stealthy, it's going to be Tam's team.
It's going to be the two. It's going to be our team. It's true. But I don't really trust Hiram and Sigona to go to them. Yeah, Wix. I've been thinking about this for a while, and Wix is sort of a wild card a little bit. I think Tam will say, I trust your experience, and you're good. I know that you've been blending in to these kinds of crowds, so I think I'd rather have you with me.
As you like. She kind of nods as she says it. Pomona looks at Wix and says, "Oh, changeling is fun. That opens up all sorts of possibilities." And Wix says, "I don't change." Oh. Okay. Well,
She can disguise herself. She can disguise herself then.
I can. I just don't want there to be any misconceptions. I'll not be changing for anyone or anything. Magical disguise is fine. And you see, like, Pomona's, like, mid-sentence and is paused, like, a little confused, and then she just says, "As you wish. Very well. Yeah, literally, like, okay." And then she looks at Wash, and she says, "You move with a dancer's grace. That gives us an advantage, as there is going to be a dance at the ball. Perhaps you might be able to attract some eyes whilst Tam and Wix get up to some mischief. How do you feel about that?" And Wash looks at her and says, in common, "That is something I can do." Your team is full of surprises, Tam. Not a native common speaker, I see. And Wash just goes, "Was it that obvious?"
Just have an accent.
I meant no offense. It gives you an air of exoticism, an air of mystery, and it will make some of the noble suitors curious as to what you are all about, more interested in you, which is more eyes where we want them to be and not where we don't. What is the story with the ink drake on your shoulder?
This is Fable. He's my familiar.
Hi. Oh, a familiar that I can understand, that speaks. That's not common. Yeah, I'm special.
He is very special. Is he, are familiars allowed at the ball?
Allowed? Yes. But unless you wish to incorporate him into your costume, your appearance, the image that you put forth, it would be best if he were invisible or poofed, if you don't mind.
Oh, sir. Unless, Buddy, do you want to go with the other two?
That might be a good idea, just so I can keep an eye on those fucks.
Yeah, you can keep an eye on them. You can let me know what's going on.
How polite of him. Yeah, you get what you pay for. And Fable, like, looks at Hiram and Sagona. All right. Witchy is carrying me. Sagona says, I don't mind. So long as you don't mind being a little lower to the ground. And Fable flutters over and perches on top of Sagona's blonde head.
Cute.
All right. That'll do. Ursula finally speaks up and she says, "The breach and assault team, you two are with me. We have plans and we need to talk them over. And I need to see exactly what you are proficient with. Come along." And Sagona just looks at you. Off we go!
Bye. Tell me how it goes.
So Sagona, Hiram, and Fable go with Ursula and Adajdi. Whereas you, Wash, and Wix, like Pomona stands up and she beckons for you to follow her. And for this, we are going to focus entirely on Pomona and you, like this squad for like this bit of the session. As Pomona leads the way, she says over her shoulders, "Right, so there are questions we need to have answered. These questions are important in that if we don't have the answers, we can't proceed to deal with, well, the treason that is happening right now in our king's palace." As she leads the way into what looks like a big dancing parlor. There's like a stage with lights, and she presses a key on a piano, and as soon as she does, you just hear like this very, well, it's dance music. It is not entirely upbeat.
Is the piano playing itself?
Yes.
Tam is fascinated.
Yes, you can investigate later. Reichel! I need you, if you don't mind. And the manservant Reichel, like, immediately seems to just appear out of fucking nowhere. And as he does, You summon me, milady? Yes, we require a judge. Of course. And he, like, places his feathery hands in the small of his back and waits. And Pomona looks to you, Temerity, and she says, "You are a bard professionally trained by the Merigard Mercenary Academy. However, I understand that your training at the Merigard is likely of a more practical expertise and less of what happens in the courtroom. And so, are you familiar with the concept of flyting?"
Flyting?
Yes, flyting.
Can I roll history?
Yeah, roll a history check. What was your total? 20.
20.
Yeah, you've heard of flyting. It's not something that was ever talked about at the Bard course in Merigard Mercenary Academy, but you are Kayan, and you grew up looking at the banners and pamphlets and posters of the College of the Seven Songs. And flyting is something you've heard of. There's like been basically advertisements about famous bards and minstrels going at it in bouts of flyting where they attempt to get the best of each other. You, with a 20, you're aware it's basically a competition of insults.
Like a dance. Oh, it's not a dance competition, but like a wit competition.
Yes, it's a battle of wits.
Yeah. Okay. Did Tam will say that? Like it's I saw them at the Battle of Seven Songs sometimes. Battles of wits.
Good. Then this will be old hat for you. When flyting, combatants, those that have agreed to a flight, take turns in a contest of verbal alacrity, disparaging or ridiculing each other. In a set number of rounds, the standards of the College of the Seven Songs determine 5 rounds to be typical. Flighters attempt to best their opponent with quick wit and are so judged by a judge, she gestures to Reichel, or an audience. Should no audience nor judge be present, each round is adjudicated by the flighters, and only when both flighters agree on the outcome of a round is a point awarded, and they may proceed to the next round. If there is no audience or judge, the flight should be limited to 3 rounds. So says the College of the Seven Songs. Flights are intended to be tests of wit and literacy, magic that enhances one's own witticisms, or that might alter perceptions, charms, fears, or any other external ability, is not permitted during a flight. If a flighter is determined to be using such, they automatically lose the bout of flighting. And now for things to get a little bit more mechanical. At the beginning of each round, the flighter with the quickest wit, which is an initiative roll based on intelligence, may take the role of attacker first. On each turn, both flighters assume a role, the attacker and the defender. Each turn proceeds thusly. The attack. The attacking fighter, whose turn it is, delivers an insult, which is a skill check, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma based. The players are encouraged to justify or RP why which skill is used in their insult.
Sure.
Then there is the defense. The defending fighter responds. The fighter whose turn it is not. The defending fighter responds, counters, or evades, contesting skill check, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma based. Again, players encouraged to justify why the skill is used. Then, the judgment. The judge and or the audience assess the exchange. The winner of the skill contest is favored in scoring, and the difference in rolls between the skill checks may influence how decisive the exchange is perceived.
Got it.
Then, the roles reverse. So then the attacking fighter becomes the defender, the defender becomes the fighter, etc.
For sure. Quick question. Since magical implements are not allowed, does that mean that Tam can't wear his headband of intellect?
No, that's fine. It means like spells, like enhance ability and stuff like that are not allowed.
I just wanted to clarify. Okay, got it.
After the score settles is the end of the turn. After both fighters have had a turn, the scores of their round are compared. The fighter who wins more exchanges in the round earns the point. If each fighter wins one exchange, the fighter with the greater total margin of success earns the point. Over the table, insults and ridicules, as well as counters and defenses, are entirely subjective in their quality. Some players or player characters may not be as comfortable voicing such remarks. In this case, advantage or bonuses to rolls can only be awarded to a flighting participant by their opponent after hearing their flight.
Interesting. Okay.
And then the last part is the encore. The next round begins. Flights are intended as duels. Assistance provided to a fighter by an ally or an enemy is considered grounds for disqualification, or at the least, nullification of that round. The winner of a flight is determined by whichever fighter has accrued the most points within the 5 rounds of the flight. If a fighter scores 3 points consecutively, the flight immediately ends and that fighter wins the flight. Different methods of attack and defense have their counters, and certain skills are better at defeating others. Intelligence-based counters are most effective against wisdom, wisdom counters are best against charisma, and charisma counters are best against intelligence. When the defending fighter is responding to an attack, they may choose to use a counter that might not be their most effective skill when it is advantageous to use that skill that counters the attack. These effective... I'll give you the... Yeah, I'll give you the thing. These effective counters are rolled with advantage, incentivizing fighters to use skills that are the correct choice in the moment, whether they are their strongest attribute or not. So, intelligence are best against wisdom, wisdom are best against charisma, and charisma are best against intelligence. It's rock, paper, scissors.
Gotcha.
So, if you are insulted with an intelligence-based skill, defending with a charisma-based skill is the best, and so on and so forth. I will give you this doc because it will help. This is a whole new combat mechanic.
I love it.
Flyting.
Without weapons.
Exactly. So there you are. You can look at that and reread it as you need to. This is the ground rules of flighting, and it is going to be how Tam or Wix or Wash handle encounters during the ball. Which means that Wix's really good intelligence or decent charisma is going to be helpful, and Wash's really good wisdom and decent charisma is going to be helpful, and your really good intelligence and charisma is going to be helpful during those situations.
Fantastic.
So
that's awesome. Lighting. Are we okay. So I'm Tam's getting these ground rules. Uh and he kind of like looks up at Pomona and goes, "So we have a judge. Are we going to practice?"
We are going to practice, you catch on quickly. And your opponent is me. Which of you would like to go first?
My goodness.
And she's looking at you.
He'll kind of like his eyes will cut to either both of his party members. He'll say, "I'll go first. I'll be the sacrificial lamb. They can learn from me."
Good luck. You hear Wash next to you, and Wick says, "Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out."
Yeah.
Okay. As you and Pomona engage in a round of flyting, we're going to roll initiative. Hold on a minute. This old encounter is still here.
Regular initiative? Or...
So, what you're going to roll is an intelligence check, and that's going to be your initiative. So, let me go ahead and look at this. Okay. That's pretty good. A 19.19. You are going to go first, Temerity.
Yeah, I kind of hope that she would, because I'm like, oh no, I'm supposed to insult a lady in her own house.
Yep, you sure are. Okay, so now you can totally let the dice do the insulting for you. You don't have to actually verbalize an insult if you can't think of one as a player. However, any opportunities for advantage or bonuses to the roll is going to be on if you role play an insult at me.
From RP, of course. Yeah, I think Tam is a little concerned, is trying to sort of he just met this person as host. So I'm gonna roll first to see, to kind of give me a flavor for it, and then I'll come up with something.
Absolutely. You see Pomona is, you didn't say anything. You see Pomona is all smiles.
Oh, am I if I'm gonna roll, is it just like a one of the ability checks, not like...
So you choose
rolling,
what flavor, right? So it's just intelligence, charisma, or wisdom. You don't charisma could be persuasion or deception or performance, but it's going to be shaped by the words that you say. If you don't verbalize an insult, it's just going to be a charisma check, basically. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
So you don't have to use a skill. It's just going to be the ability check, regardless.
The ability check, regardless. Okay. Tam is just going to kind of look over her.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's really pretty, unfortunately.
Yeah, she's really pretty, but I think he's going to go for her taste, though. He's going to say, I'm trying to figure out whether or not you're trying to be subtle about your allegiance to Marcella. You don't hide it very well.
Hold on, let me... Okay.
But maybe you're not trying to.
Okay. So that is going to be a charisma check.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like it's like an implication.
15.
15. Okay. Pomona's counter what she says to you is, "Darling, if you must accuse me of sin, at least pick one I'm guilty of. It saves time and embarrassment." So she's gonna roll. That it's pretty clearly charisma as well. She's just being snarky right back. Okay, she rolled a 19 or a charisma. So her counter does best you, and Reichel says, "Point for my lady." Doesn't really leave any room for like argument. Which means that the first round of the flight, the judgment goes to Pomona. And that's it. That's how it's going to work. So now the roles reverse. Now it is Pomona's turn to attack Tam.
Got it.
She looks at you. "You know, you are useful, Tam. That is why you are here. But don't confuse that with being irreplaceable." And that is going to be, she's trying to point out to you, like, your place in this game.
Sure.
She's trying to use wisdom against you, which is not her strongest ability. Okay. She's got a 15.
Okay.
And now you're defending, so how do you rebuttal?
I'm trying to figure. Hang on. Is it I think he's just gonna. He's gonna raise his eyebrows and laugh and say, "My lady, if you're trying to teach me my place, I've known it since I was a child. I'm a twin. If you're trying to wound me by telling me something I don't already have to order."
Reichel says, "Short responses, please." And Pomona says, "That was fine. Settle down. Judge, don't teach. I'm teaching." And you see Reichel like immediately just like deflates and says, "Apologies, ma'am." So that sounds like a charisma response, but if you want to try and justify it as something else.
Let's see. It was wisdom counters are most effective at charisma counters. I'm trying to figure out.
So the rock, paper, scissors. She used a wisdom
And I wanted-
insult on you. If you wanted to have advantage, you need to use an intelligence-based insult.
Intelligence. But
It sounded like
Like,
charisma, which would just mean it's just a roll.
yeah, I think it's just charisma. And honestly, it makes sense because Tam is.
Yeah. So roll another charisma check. You have to beat a 15, which you probably can. Oof.
25.
As Reichel like recovers from his short little scolding from Pomona, he just kind of perks up and he says, "Though self-disparaging, point to Tam." Pomona nods and she says, "Very good. If you use their weapons against you yourself, they are disarmed." Reichel, it stands, and Reichel says, "Pomona 1, Tam 1. And we begin the next round." Okay, so it's basically the Battle of Wits continues. We move on to the next round, and you roll initiative again, so roll another intelligence check.
Oh, for intelligence check. Okay.
It's the first person to come up with the insult, basically.
Got it. Okay, got it. So it's initiative every round. That's fascinating. I love that.
Okay, so that is a 13. All right. I think Pomona's got you beat on this round. Yep.
Honestly, I think the flavor of that would be that like Tam is learning and he wants to see. I think like defending is useful because it teaches you how to attack.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
He's like,
let's see. Okay. She says, "I heard you took a life the other night. Does your music sound different now?
Is that also wisdom?
This is another wisdom attack. She's trying to use insight against you.
Insight against me.
Oof, that's a 23.
Okay.
She rolled real good.
Can I say something? I'm trying to
Take your time. This is it's a whole new mechanic, so we're working it together.
I'm trying to think of kind of like an intelligence thing based on kind of what I know about her, kind of thinking about kind of her positioning politically. So if I say something, go ahead.
I was just going to say intelligence-based encounters are most effective against wisdom. So, like, you can try and make an assumption or draw a conclusion from what you know. And,
Yes.
like, what do you know? What do you know about Pomona already?
So my thought was going to be, I was going to say something to, well, you're the mistress of coin, are you not? I can't imagine you're trying to hurt my mercenary's feelings. My job has to do with killing people. Yours seems to have much more impact on human lives, and you don't seem very fazed by that.
Okay. It is a counter against whiz with intelligence, so you have advantage. You have to beat a 23.
Okay. I only have a +4 to this, but we will try.
You have to roll a 19. Yeah.
Oh no, not at all.
No.
Not even a little bit.
So unfortunately, like as the counter was being delivered, you stumbled. Like Tam literally like stammered it out a little bit, and Reichel just shakes his head.
Let's be real. She hit me. Like I think, in addition, first of all, longer response. He's trying to keep it short, and like.
Oh, you think that insult like hit home?
Yeah.
Oof.
I think he kind of flinches a little bit and then tries to regain his footing, and that's what costs him.
Okay, so Reichel just says, "Point, Pomona." Pomona dips her head respectfully. Now it's your turn to attack.
Are you sure you're confident about this? Not only am I new at this, but also your thumb is on the scale. You asked your manservant to be the judge. Are you sure that doesn't betray some lack of confidence on your part?
Okay. Let's see here. What would she say to that?
Would I roll? Is that like an intelligence, a charisma?
You're basing it like, are you sure you're confident about this? It sounds like
insight to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a wisdom-based attack.
Which is not my strongest at all, but that's what we went with. I'm mostly going with what he would say in the moment and not necessarily calculating very.
That's okay.
Well. I'm rolling so terribly. 7.
Oh man. Poor Tam. Okay.
I feel like I really want him to be good at this.
Well, I mean, your dice are saying they're telling a story, and that story is a little painful.
My dice are telling a story. It's true.
She is like, she almost like takes a teaching tone, and she says, "Of course my thumb is on the scale. The lesson, my dear, is learning how to win even then." Which I think she's just using a charisma attack counter. She was using the moment to try and explain the concept and just didn't bother going with an intellectual attack. So her counter is 16, which does beat your 7. Yeah. Reichel says, a point to Pomona.
I think he's lost his footing. Is that 3? Did I lose? Or do I have one more?
You have one more.
Okay.
Which means you roll initiative once more.
Initiative again. Yes.
Yes.
I like this. This is a very... Oh, natural 1. He's
Natural
lost his
1.
footing.
No. Okay.
At least it wasn't... Listen, at least it wasn't a natural 1 in, like, course of the combat. If it's going to be initiative, then that's...
It's true. An insult battle is probably one of the better things to roll a
Not
terrible
the time
one.
to roll a natural 1.
Okay.
Nope.
So, Pomona looks at Tam. She, like, obviously she immediately has a quip. I need to think about it for a second.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think she actually, like, clocks that the comment about taking a life hit him, and she says, it's good that you regret what you've done. Regret means you notice and will remember, but the question is, will you learn? Okay. I was going for a wisdom attack. I rolled bad. I rolled a 7 total. So your counter, you might... I think she leaned a little too far into trying to be insightful and just didn't have any teeth.
Sure. Let's see. Intelligence are most effective against wisdom. Or most effective against... Yeah, and we it's a wisdom attack.
Yeah.
I suppose that depends on how long you've been a teacher. Student is only as good as those that can teach him.
Okay. Roll. That sounds like intelligence.
I'm going for intelligence, but I don't...
You were kind of bending a platitude, which I think is based off history, so roll an intelligence.
And that's advantage, right?
Yes, you have advantage because it's intelligence versus whiz.
Okay.
Yeah, you crushed that one. Okay. You absolutely... Your rebuttal defeats Pomona. She dips her head, and Reichel says, a point to Tem. A 3 to 2.
And it's 5 rounds? It's 5 rounds, right?
5 full rounds. So, 2 points are awarded each round, and there's 5 rounds.
Oh, I see.
But the first one that wins 3 points in a row just wins.
Gotcha.
Pomona 1-1, you 1-1, Pomona 1-2, you 1-1. So the counter is reset, basically. Now it's your attack, Tam.
Oh, it's my attack. We're not rolling initiative again.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
New mechanic.
It's also fascinating because, like, I don't really know very much about Pomona.
Sure. I mean, here's what you know, right? She's a merchant noble. She's responsible for the gem trade and currency exchange in Augur City. She has gotten involved in this political, like, strife, probably from fairly selfish means. She has a lot of people that answer to her, so she's in a position of power, and she lives pretty comfortably. She also clearly worships Marcella, who's a goddess of lust and pain and money.
That was the opening. I mean, part of why Tam is, I don't want to say pulling his punches here, but he also doesn't want to actually, like, he doesn't really want to go after Marcella too bad. Like, he doesn't want to, like, go after the things that she believes in because she's helping us.
That hasn't seemed to affect Pomona's opinion about insulting you.
It's true.
You killed someone. How you doing? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't expect it to. He's trying to, like, he's being Tam. He's trying to be nice. Which is costing him in this battle, I think.
I think so too.
I think he's gonna kind of retreat into what he knows, which is he didn't even learn vicious mockery right away, but he's gonna go into an insult that's more closer to a vicious mockery
Okay.
and say like, "Oh, you took a dip on that one, huh? Your horns must be sharper than your wit."
Okay. Let's see.
I was going for charisma in that case because I'm thinking of vicious mockery as a like
Yeah,
just
go
kind of one of those like petty
yeah, that works.
insults, you know. Natural 20.
For a total of 25. Okay.
25. Yeah, I think he kind of rolls his shoulders back and sort of comes into his confidence a little bit. And it's more the delivery than anything.
Yep. Behind you, you hear Rix go, "Oh, all right." But Pomona, she replies, "Physical traits are the refuge of dull tongues. Try again. This time with thought behind it." She is... That's a wisdom attack.
Yeah.
She has advantage. Oh, she rolled so good. She rolled a 24, so you still beat her, but it was much closer. You see Reichel is actually like considering it for a minute. "I'm sorry, my lady, point goes to Tam." And Pomona, like, you actually see a little bit of, like, her face drops into, like, a glare as she looks at him. And you suddenly get the impression this woman has expertise in intimidation because she's scary as she looks at him and she says,
"Oh man, I hope that I win the next round. I know what I'll say."
She immediately regains her composure looking back and she just nods her head.
Natural 20 again.
All right, so your initiative is a 24.
Your initiative, 24.
She could beat that, so let's see if she does. She doesn't natural 20, so you go first. Go ahead. It's your attack.
Oh, what's the matter, teacher? Did you get your feelings hurt by a novice?
Okay.
What do we say? Wisdom, charisma?
That is... I think that's a wisdom, because it's based on, like, inciting her...
Noting
her
how she
aggravation.
behaved in that moment. Yeah. I thought that was a better insult than anything that I've given so far, and I only got an 8. Alas.
Let's see.
Man, dice, come on.
Yeah, that's how it is. She's going to use intelligence, and she says, with a smooth and cool voice on her counter, "I'm not your opponent, Tam. I'm the reason you'll survive one." And you rolled an 8 on that. Okay. She has to roll pretty bad. She did not. She rolled a 17.
Okay,
So, Reichel says, "Point for Pomona." You see Pomona is like tipping her finger towards you and says, "Good attempt, though." And she pauses for a moment. Let's see. But once more about you. You offer kindness like it's coin, Tam. Tell me, are you generous Or are you simply hoping it will be returned? She's using wisdom against you again.
How would you know the meaning of generosity?
That's a wisdom back. Okay. Hold on, I'm rolling her wisdom attack first. She rolled an 18. So you have to beat an 18 with your wisdom rebuttal.
I almost certainly won't. I went for a skill that is not.
I respect it though.
But...
You know, because you responded quickly off the cuff, I'll give you a +2 to it.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I like the fact that you had it ready to rock. Okay, so Twinin, you beat her. Okay. Rykel nods and says, point to time. You have tied it up. It's 4-4 right now. But we roll initiative once more. So go ahead and roll intelligence check. Okay, she goes first. Almost like continuing the insult before. Hold on, what's your new initiative? 11?
11, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Pomona says, kindness is admirable, but dependency is not. Which one are you cultivating? More wisdom. You have to beat a 16 here.
A 16. Which one? Cultivating. What did she say? Kindness is...
Kindness is admirable, but dependency is not. And which one are you cultivating?
I think I could ask the same of you. You seem pretty dependent on coin, and that's why you hired us in the first place. You're afraid for your empire, but you need me. You're the dependent one here.
More insight. This is more wisdom. So it's wisdom versus wisdom.
I feel like I thought it was this episode, like her political positioning, like and my like having gotten information on ahead of time.
Well, that's all information you got from inciting her and reading into what you've seen about her.
But I asked. It was histories too. I talked to her servants and stuff.
Okay, sure. It can be intelligence.
Yay, thank you.
16, it's a tie! It's a tie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her intelligence score is higher than yours.
Sure.
So, she does win. But it's incredibly close. Rykel, is actually paused and, looking between the two of you. And eventually Pomona is like, Rykel, you must make a judgment. Apologies for... I needed to ruminate. Point for Pomona, but it was close. So now Pomona is 5-4. Tam, it's your attack.
You seem pretty upset when I went after your personal features, but I don't think it's much better to go after obvious things like how I'm kind. If what you're attacking is kindness, then I think that says more about you and what you value than it does about me.
Okay.
Can I make an argument for charisma because he's thinking about himself? Like charisma is your sort of like self. He's like.
This seems like a charisma attack anyway.
Okay, great.
You don't have to argue for that.
I understood that there could be some wisdom. But, okay, 21. That's not bad.
She kind of tuts. There it is. Almost a thought worth keeping. And then you asked me what it meant. She shakes her head. I think she went...
Are you still there?
Yeah, did you hear me? Hello? Uh-oh. Are you there? Oh, boy. Can you hear me? Hold on a minute, pausing. All right, so what she said was, with a tut and a shake of her head, she says, there it is, almost a thought worth keeping. And then you asked me what it meant. And she, like, tuts. She's taking a teacherly approach here, which I think it's a charisma response, basically. Just like, she's saying that you've given her control by asking a question. So it's just going to be a straight roll. So charisma versus charisma. But she rolled a nat 20. So that's a 25. Which means that she wins it on that counter. Which means the end of this round. Reichel says, Pomona, which puts her at 6-4. And that's the end of round 5. Which means the flight is over.
Tam nods and gives a low bow.
Reichel says, Pomona is the victor. And then he backs up and Pomona says, that was well flighted. However, you leave too much room for your opponent to take power. You don't ask questions. You declare statements. Statements that must be rebutted. When you ask a question, you put it in their hands. It makes it, a little easier to take back control.
Noted.
However, there were definitely some teeth in some of those flights. You might have a knack for this, which is good, because everyone enjoys watching a good flight. And she, glances at Wix and Wash, and Wix is like, oh, I didn't expect it to be as fascinating as it was. And of course, they are never personal. If I have offended you, Tam, I apologize.
No, you had some good insights there. I regret that I'm so easy to read.
Well, I am also fairly open to be read as well. You pointed out a few, realities of our world that maybe we're not the most happy with. But that is the point of a flight, is it not? To put us in positions where we are uncomfortable, and yet see our way through the storm regardless.
Tam is his eyes are going to cut over to Wash, and he's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? I think it's a great way to train your common, but it might be trial by fire a little bit.
Of course I want to do it.
You do thrive in a difficult environment.
Yes, and to back out would be cowardice. I will not. Well, now that we've had our first taste of flighting, I would like to welcome you all formally to the Nadajdi home. You are all welcome to any of the rooms on the first floor. You will find comfortable guest quarters on the eastern wing. I'm glad you're all here. We will continue with more training after dinner. Until then. And she gives a bow. I will see you all later. as Pomona departs this parlor and Reichel steps forward, probably to address or maybe acknowledge any questions or concerns you might have. That is where we're going to call tonight's session.
Sure.
Ooh.
Oh man, what a cool mechanic.
I swear I did not make that mechanic just to insult you to your face.
No. I love it. It sounds like a thing that you've been developing for a while and is particularly great. I mean, one of the difficulties of D&D is that it really highly prizes like combat that hurts people, and I really like that this is twisting the mechanics to make it kind of more of a something that is still a combat but not in the way that it would hurt someone in
Right.
blood.
Well, I'm glad you're liking it. We're going to be doing more of that. And you're going to get like advantages and bonuses as Cam practices flighting that will be representative of, having trained in flighting. So, thank you for playing with me tonight. I hope you had a good time. To those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi Pen, hi Sleepy, hi class, hi everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.